The early morning sunlight cut through the downtown courthouse windows, casting long shadows across the polished marble floors. Judge David Park adjusted his glasses, his fingers drumming impatiently against the wooden bench. Another mundane day of traffic violations and minor legal disputes stretched before him. The courtroom doors swung open, and Sophia Kim walked in. Her footsteps echoed with a quiet confidence that seemed to challenge the room's sterile atmosphere. She wore a crisp navy blazer that spoke of professionalism, her dark hair pulled back in a neat ponytail. Most people would have been nervous, but Sophia moved with the calm of someone who understood systems far more complex than a local traffic court. "Ms. Kim," David's voice carried a hint of automatic dismissal. "You're charged with a traffic violation. Specifically, exceeding the speed limit in a residential zone by 15 kilometers per hour. Sophia remained composed. Her eyes, sharp and intelligent, met the judge's with a steady gaze that made him slightly uncomfortable. Something about her presence suggested she was far more than just another routine defendant. The court clerk shuffled some papers, the ambient sound of bureaucratic mundanity filling the space. Outside, the city of Seoul hummed with its usual morning energy. Delivery scooters weaving through traffic, office workers rushing to their morning meetings. What neither Sophia nor David knew was that this seemingly ordinary morning would become anything but typical. Hidden within her seemingly simple background was a story that would soon connect to something far larger, a narrative that stretched beyond this courtroom, beyond Earth itself. A subtle notification pinged on the court's digital display. Most would have ignored it, but David noticed a strange encryption pattern in the background system. Something was different about this particular case file. Sophia's fingers unconsciously touched a small pin on her lapel, a miniature satellite, design that looked like a decorative accessory but was far more sophisticated. It subtly pulsed with a microscopic blue light, undetectable to anyone not looking closely. "Ms. Kim," David continued, "the standard fine for your speed violation is 150,000 won. Do you have anything to say?" Her response was measured, professional. "I understand the violation, Your Honor. I was returning from an early morning research facility, and admittedly my concentration was more on recent computational models than on the speedometer." A slight smile played on her lips, the smile of someone who lived in a world of complex equations and technological frontiers, momentarily caught in the simplicity of a traffic regulation. The court's ambient temperature seemed to drop slightly. The electronic systems flickered almost imperceptibly. Something was brewing, something that connected this ordinary courtroom scene to a much larger narrative of human potential and cosmic possibilities. David Park couldn't shake the feeling that this was no ordinary morning. The way Sophia stood, the subtle technological accessory, the strange system notification, everything suggested a story waiting to unfold. Little did he know that the woman standing before him was about to change everything he understood about human potential, scientific discovery, and the boundaries of what seemed possible. The courtroom waited, suspended in a moment of anticipation. A single traffic violation would soon become the gateway to an extraordinary journey. End of Part 1. Narrative Elements. Incorporated. Subtle technological hints. Character depth. Atmospheric build-up. Potential for larger narrative. Hints of scientific background. Natural. Conversational tone. Engaging narrative progression. The young court clerk, Jae-hoon, nervously approached the bench, his hands trembling slightly as he passed a confidential folder to Judge David Park. The manila envelope seemed ordinary, but something about its texture suggested it wasn't a standard document. As David opened the file, the world around him seemed to blur. His fingers traced the official letterhead of the Global Space Research Institute, a name that carried weight in scientific circles worldwide. The document's header gleamed with holographic security markers, shifting colors that indicated top-level clearance. Sophia Kim's personnel file began to unfold like a complex technological blueprint. Each page revealed layers of achievements that seemed almost impossible for a single human to accomplish. Quantum mechanics research papers that had revolutionized theoretical physics. propulsion system designs that made current space technology look like primitive toys. Photographs showed Sophia in advanced research facilities, clean rooms with impossible machinery, holographic displays dancing around her as she worked. One image caught David's attention. She was standing beside a prototype spacecraft design, her hand resting on a model that looked more like art than engineering. The research summary was breathtaking. Dr. Sophia Kim had developed a breakthrough in quantum entanglement propulsion, a technology that could potentially reduce interstellar travel time from centuries to mere months. Her work wasn't just scientific, it was a gateway to humanity's future among the stars. Suddenly, the courtroom felt small. The traffic violation seemed laughably insignificant compared to the global, no, galactic implications of her work. A digital notification blinked on the court's display. Encrypted messages began streaming in from various international research organizations. Satellite communication networks lit up with activity, creating a silent symphony of technological communication. Jae-hoon leaned closer, whispering, "Sir, do you realize who she is?" David's mouth went dry. The woman he had been about to find was not just a scientist, she was potentially the most important technological mind of her generation. Her research could open doors to space exploration that humanity had only dreamed. About the file contained classified information about experimental spacecraft designs. Intricate diagrams showed propulsion systems that seemed to bend the very laws of physics, quantum entanglement drives that could potentially create shortcuts through space-time, reducing interstellar distances to mere moments of travel. One particular section caught David's eye, a project codename Horizon Breaker. It detailed a spacecraft design that could potentially survive the extreme conditions of deep space, with life support systems that could sustain human life for decades of continuous travel. Outside the courthouse, something strange happened. Satellite communications worldwide seemed to pulse with an unusual frequency. Traffic systems glitched momentarily. Electronic billboards flickered with fragments of complex mathematical equations. Sophia remained perfectly calm, as if she were completely unaware of the technological storm her presence was creating. Her small satellite design pin continued to pulse with that subtle blue light, a beacon of something far more significant than a simple traffic violation. David realized he was holding his breath. The woman he had almost found was not just a scientist. She was a potential savior of human exploration. Her work could mean the difference between humanity remaining confined to a single planet or becoming a truly spacefaring civilization. The court clerk Jae-hoon whispered again. She's the one who solved the quantum propulsion problem everyone said was impossible. David's world had changed in the span of a few moments. A simple traffic court proceeding had transformed into something extraordinary, a moment that could potentially define humanity's future. Sophia Kim, a name that would soon become synonymous with human potential, scientific breakthrough, and the expansion of human knowledge beyond anything previously imagined. End of Part 2. Narrative elements, technological mystery, scientific breakthrough revelation, subtle cosmic implications, human potential exploration, engaging technological description, natural narrative progression. The silence in the courtroom became electric with potential. David Park's hands trembled as he processed the implications of Dr. Sophia Kim's groundbreaking research. Her quantum propulsion technology wasn't just another scientific paper. It was a blueprint for humanity's cosmic future. Fragments of her research danced across his mind. A propulsion system that could compress space-time, reducing interstellar distances from centuries to weeks. Imagine spacecraft sliding through cosmic corridors like light passing through glass. Instantaneous, effortless, revolutionary. Jae-hoon. The court clerk activated a holographic display hidden within the courthouse's secure communication system. Suddenly, three-dimensional schematics of Sophia's spacecraft design materialized. Intricate networks of quantum entanglement generators, plasma conduits, and gravitational stabilizers that looked more like living organisms than mechanical constructs. The Horizon Project, Jae-hoon whispered. She's the primary architect. The hologram revealed complex spacecraft designs that seemed to breathe with technological sophistication, sleek exteriors made from adaptive metamaterials that could self-repair, absorb radiation, and adjust to extreme cosmic environments, internal systems that could simulate Earth-like conditions while traversing millions of light-years. Outside the courthouse, something extraordinary happened. Global communication networks began experiencing subtle disruptions. Satellite systems flickered. Military communication channels picked up encrypted transmissions that suggested something significant was unfolding. Sophia remained composed, her posture indicating she was fully aware of the technological tsunami she was generating. Her satellite, PIN, continued its subtle blue pulsation, a beacon of something far beyond a simple traffic violation. Research logs revealed her team had successfully created microscopic wormhole simulations. They weren't just theorizing. They were practically implementing technologies that most scientists considered pure science fiction. Quantum tunneling, space compression, gravitational manipulation, all becoming real under her leadership. The Global Space Research Institute's classified reports painted a stunning picture. Dr. Kim's technologies could potentially solve multiple human challenges: interstellar travel, energy production, environmental restoration. Her work wasn't just about reaching distant stars. It was about transforming human civilization's fundamental understanding of physics. One particular document caught David's attention: a proposal for humanity's first extrasolar colony mission. The spacecraft design suggested capability of carrying 10,000 humans, complete with regenerative ecosystems, advanced medical facilities, and adaptive learning environments. Jae-hoon leaned closer, explaining, her team developed bio-integrated life support systems. The spacecraft doesn't just transport humans, it becomes a living, adaptive environment. The holographic display shifted, showing simulations of potential alien environment adaptations. Spacecraft that could transform their external structures based on planetary conditions, internal systems that could rapidly analyze and neutralize unknown biological threats. David felt overwhelmed. The woman he had almost fined for a minor traffic violation was potentially the most important scientific mind of her generation. Her work represented a quantum leap in human technological evolution. Subtle technological signals continued spreading globally. Research facilities worldwide began receiving encrypted data packages. Something significant was brewing, a technological revolution waiting to be unleashed. Sophia's eyes met David's, a look that suggested she understood far more than anyone in the room. Her smile carried the confidence of someone who had already seen humanity's future and was working diligently to make it a reality. The courtroom had transformed from a mundane legal space into a portal of extraordinary potential. A single moment was about to change everything humanity understood about its place in the universe. End of Part 3. Narrative elements. Technological wonder. Scientific breakthrough exploration. Cosmic potential revelation. Human innovation celebration. Engaging. Technological storytelling. Natural narrative progression. The news spread like wildfire across global networks. Within hours, Dr. Sophia Kim's story transformed from a simple traffic court incident to a worldwide conversation about systemic discrimination and scientific brilliance. Social media platforms erupted. Hashtags trended worldwide. Justice for Sophia. Scientific brilliance. Breaking barriers. Global news networks scrambled to cover the story of a brilliant scientist nearly fined for a trivial traffic violation. International research institutions began releasing statements of support. The Global Space Research Institute held an emergency press conference, highlighting Dr. Kim's groundbreaking contributions to quantum propulsion technology. Her colleagues spoke passionately about her years of dedicated research, challenging the narrative of judicial bias. Live broadcasts showed scientists from different continents standing in solidarity. Research facilities from Tokyo to Silicon Valley, from Mumbai to Berlin, all shared the same message. Talent knows no boundaries of race, gender, or background. Unexpected allies emerged. Military research divisions, typically secretive, began releasing carefully curated information about Dr. Kim's revolutionary space exploration technologies. Her quantum propulsion designs were more than just scientific achievements. They were potential game changers for human space exploration. Digital. Billboards in major cities worldwide displayed her research achievements. Times Square in New York, Shibuya Crossing in Tokyo, and Gangnam District in Seoul became canvases celebrating her scientific contributions. The Global Space Research Institute released a comprehensive documentary about her work. Holographic displays in public spaces showed simulations of her spacecraft designs, sleek vessels that could traverse impossible cosmic distances. Each visualization told a story of human potential, of breaking through limitations. Judge David Park found himself at the center of an unprecedented media storm. News outlets dissected every moment of the initial court interaction. His previous judicial records were scrutinized, revealing subtle patterns of unconscious bias that had gone unnoticed for years. International podcast networks invited Dr. Kim to share her story. She spoke not with anger, but with a calm determination that captured global imagination. Her interviews became masterclasses in resilience, scientific innovation, and human potential. Technological forums began analyzing her quantum propulsion research. What seemed like a potential punishment had transformed into a global platform for discussing scientific innovation and systemic challenges in research communities. Educational. Institutions worldwide started scholarship programs inspired by her story. Universities created research grants specifically designed to support underrepresented scientists, transforming a moment of potential injustice into a catalyst for positive change. Satellite communication networks continued displaying subtle technological signals. It was as if the entire global technological infrastructure was resonating with the story of one extraordinary scientist. The United Nations Science Council called an emergency session. Dr. Kim's research was discussed as a potential breakthrough in humanity's cosmic exploration capabilities. Her quantum propulsion designs were recognized as a pivotal moment in human technological evolution. Social media influencers, scientific communicators, and global thought leaders amplified her story. Each platform became a megaphone for discussing scientific potential, systemic challenges, and the importance of recognizing talent regardless of background. Global technology conferences began redesigning their approach to diversity and inclusion. Dr. Kim's story became a case study in recognizing and nurturing scientific brilliance. The initial traffic court incident had transformed into a global conversation about human potential, scientific innovation, and the importance of looking beyond surface-level judgments. Sophia Kim stood at the center of this global storm, not as a victim, but as a beacon of hope, innovation, and extraordinary human potential. The world was watching, and the narrative was changing. End of Part 4. Narrative Elements. Global Technological Awakening. Scientific Community Solidarity. Systemic Challenge Exploration. Human Potential Celebration. Inspirational Narrative Progression. Technological and Social Transformation. The Global Innovation Foundation emerged as Dr. Sophia Kim's most profound response to the courtroom incident. Instead of seeking personal revenge, she transformed a moment of potential discrimination into a powerful platform for global scientific empowerment. Her foundation wasn't just another research grant program. It was a comprehensive ecosystem designed to identify, support, and launch extraordinary scientific talents from marginalized backgrounds. Advanced AI screening systems would detect potential researchers who might otherwise be overlooked by traditional academic channels. The Foundation's first project launched with unprecedented global support. A satellite communication network would identify promising young scientists in remote regions, from small villages in Africa to isolated communities in South America. Holographic education platforms would provide world-class scientific training, breaking traditional educational barriers. Global research facilities began collaborating. The Foundation created a unique quantum scholarship program that provided not just financial support, but direct mentorship from leading scientists worldwide. Young researchers would get access to cutting-edge laboratories, advanced research equipment, and international networking opportunities. Dr. Kim's personal story became a catalyst for systemic change. Educational institutions worldwide started redesigning their selection processes. Artificial intelligence systems were developed to eliminate unconscious bias in research grant allocations and academic admissions. The technological infrastructure supporting the foundation was extraordinary. Quantum communication networks allowed real-time collaboration between researchers across different continents. Advanced translation technologies ensured that language was no longer a barrier to scientific collaboration. Her spacecraft design team continued pushing technological boundaries. Prototype vessels capable of traversing unprecedented cosmic distances were being developed. These weren't just transportation vehicles, they were living technological ecosystems that could adapt to extreme cosmic environments. International space agencies began integrating her research methodologies. The concept of space exploration was transforming from a national competition to a global collaborative effort. Her foundation became a bridge between different scientific communities, breaking down traditional geopolitical barriers. The Global Space Research Institute established a special research wing dedicated to continuing her work. Quantum propulsion. Technologies that seemed like science fiction were now becoming practical realities. Simulations showed potential faster-than-light travel becoming feasible within the next decade. Judge David Park, transformed by the entire experience, became an unexpected ally. He began working with judicial training programs, developing workshops about unconscious bias and systemic discrimination. His personal journey of transformation became another powerful narrative of human potential. Advanced holographic communication systems allowed Dr. Kim to mentor young scientists globally. A single researcher in a remote village could now have direct access to world-leading scientific minds, breaking traditional educational limitations. The Foundation's impact extended beyond scientific research. Educational platforms were developed that could identify and nurture scientific talent in children as young as 10. Machine learning algorithms would help detect unique cognitive patterns that suggested extraordinary scientific potential. International technology conferences began featuring researchers discovered through her foundation. Young scientists from previously marginalized backgrounds were now presenting groundbreaking research, challenging traditional scientific narratives. Global communication networks continued displaying subtle technological signals, a reminder that something extraordinary was unfolding. The boundaries between human potential and technological innovation were blurring. Dr. Kim's final message to the world was simple yet powerful. Innovation has no race, no gender, no background. It only requires imagination, dedication, and an opportunity. The spacecraft design team continued pushing boundaries. Prototype vessels that could potentially traverse multiple star systems were being developed. These weren't just transportation vehicles. They were living technological platforms that represented humanity's cosmic potential. As the world watched, a single moment of potential injustice had transformed into a global movement of scientific empowerment and human potential. The journey had just begun. End of Part 5. Narrative Elements. Global Scientific Transformation, Technological Innovation Celebration, Human Potential Exploration, Systemic Change Narrative, Inspirational Technological, Storytelling, Cosmic Potential Revelation.